Nolan, good to see you. Big Social Security news. Insolvency now projected for 2032. Your benefit could be cut by 22%. According to a new trustees report, ongoing tax revenue would only cover 78% of scheduled benefits after the fund is depleted. So what does this mean, Nolan? Because a lot of people assume then that in 2032, they're not going to get a check, but that's not quite it.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. This does not just, automatically mean that Social Security is going to stop and be insolvent. But what this is saying is if there aren't many changes made by 2032, Social Security won't be able to pay out the full amount that they're paying right now. So, it's not a stopping of your check, but unless some changes are made, it could be an automatic reduction in benefits. I mean, if the reserves, if the backup money starts to run out, I mean, they do have to make some tweaks somewhere along the line. So we'll talk about some of those possible things they could do today. It doesn't mean that the checks will stop altogether. I don't think that's the intent of that program right now.
Right. However, the average person could see their monthly check cut by $500. That's according to a committee for a responsible federal budget. Does this mean then that we should claim as soon as we're able at 62?
Yeah, to claim early based on a headline is not something that we often recommend. I think that it's important to just look at your total overall strategy, the plan that we or somebody helps you put in place to determine what the best strategy for you is. Now, we brought up here your benefit by filing age. And if you see these headlines and start to panic and say, well, shoot, I'm going to draw at 62, not at 67. Well, you're voluntarily taking more of a cut than they will give you in a few years anyway. Like it's a permanent reduction in benefits. It can affect spousal benefits sometimes. Like there are just some things that go along with it that require additional consideration beyond this is a scary headline. So it doesn't automatically mean you need to claim at 62.
Let's talk about some of those solutions that you mentioned. Increasing the retirement age, decreasing benefits, increasing payroll tax revenue. What, if any, of those changes do you think we'll see?
A combination of all of them wouldn't surprise me. I've always told people that it was like the Social Security program in and of itself was meant for technically old people who just have no capacity to work or very sick folks. It was created in the early 1900s. Life expectancy, I believe, was 67 at the time that full retirement age was 65. So most people were not on the program for longer than 2 years. So the easiest and simplest thing that they could possibly do is just extend full claiming age to closer to life expectancy. Now, can you be a politician and get elected if that's one of your plateaus? I don't believe so. So this is something that's going to happen maybe over time, or the most they've done is change full retirement age from 65 to 67. That's all they've done so far. So these other things in some capacity probably need to happen. Now, how it changes retirement planning, if you have a resilient plan, it won't change all that much. You should have a good growth bucket. You should have a good income bucket. You should have a couple non-correlated assets. So just insulating yourself from this potential threat of income is a good idea. So plan over the next decade, maybe that you'll have a $500 a month gap in income, figure out what your assets need to do to provide that gap, and then get to work.
I'm glad you mentioned Congress, because just to explain again for everybody watching, Social Security benefits are funded by payroll tax receipts and the trust fund. So once the fund is tapped, the government will only be able to pay benefits equal to incoming payroll tax revenue under current law, meaning benefits will face cuts even if Congress does nothing, which they're very good at doing. So what do we do now to prepare?
Save more, spend less, invest a little more aggressively. I mean, there are lots of small things you can maybe do to tweak your portfolio as a pre-retiree. I look to like some professionals for advice a lot of times, and I like Dave Ramsey, and I mean, even he is getting on the boat of saying you need to be pretty aggressively invested as a retiree if you need your money to keep pace with your cost of living over time. So just knowing that the Social Security Administration and this fund have been under strain for quite some time, there are not nearly as many people paying in as people claiming. The total benefits claimed are way more than the taxes paid into the system by the workers. There are a lot of algebraic equations that just don't work here. So
Mhm.
what we need to do is be proactive, do what we can with what we have, and just make sure that you have a plan. You need a
Yeah.
plan, something to allow you to pivot once or twice or three times if something does happen to your income.
Right. Good point. I mean, if this headline stressed you out, it's a good reminder you probably don't have a solid plan. So again, if somebody would like to sit down with you, Nolan, figure out their own unique claiming strategies so that news like this doesn't stress them out, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so they can call 616-301-2581 or go to our website, which is cornerstone-rp.com, and fill out the contact us box at the bottom of that page.
Okay. Nolan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Erin.